Welcome to the video on how to calculate the volume of oxygen left in a tank. This is a very important mathematical concept to have seared in your mind if you're an anesthesia provider, if you're a respiratory therapist, if you're a scuba diver, if you have any interaction with working with an oxygen tank, specifically an E-cylinder, then this is a very important concept to have seared in your mind. So let's begin with writing our formula. So the max capacity in liters of an E-cylinder divided by the surface pressure, which is in PSI, then we equals the volume remaining in liters divided by the gauge pressure in PSI. So it's always important to know this formula. This type of question is very common on the C exam and on the board exam. The max capacity is a known value that should be memorized, as well as the surface pressure that corresponds to the max capacity. The gauge pressure is something that we can control by looking at the gauge on the tank. So then we'll have three known variables and we'll just have to solve for volume remaining. So let's do an example. An E-cylinder oxygen tank gauge reads 700 psi. How much oxygen is left in the tank? So I always like to start by writing out the formula again, because the more we write out a formula, the more it gets seared in our mind. So now we can plug in the known variables. Well, the first known variable that you will have had to memorize is that an E-cylinder has 660 liters. Divided by the surface pressure, which is 2,000 psi. That's how much pressure there is when the E-cylinder is completely filled with 660 liters. Okay, the volume remaining is our unknown variable, so I have X here in liters, and divided by the gauge pressure, which we're given this bit of information in the example, and that's 700. So at this point, all we have to do is cross multiply and solve for X. So 2000x, and we did that by cross multiplying, equals 660 times 700. So 2000x equals 462,000. Now we need to divide by 2,000 on each side in order to solve for x. And x equals 231 liters. So an E-cylinder tank reads 700 psi. How much oxygen is left in the tank? And we know that there are 231 liters left in the tank. Thank you for joining me. Please stay tuned for additional mathematical modules coming your way.